All right. Good morning and welcome to another true morning brew with Jaffe and Razor. We are live. Uh, Felt like we just saw each other 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, in real time we did.
In real time, we did. Exactly.
Awake time.
We get out of the Nesson studios, we get home, and we say, all right, we are still going to do this, despite the fact the Boston Bruins lose again, this time to the hands of the Seattle Kraken. And a game that, again, winnable, but for a while until the third period. We're going to get into all of that here as we talk about a team that things have, again, have kind of morphed into a little kind of a what's going on thing with the Boston Bruins. Before we get into that, though, let's remind everybody that Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor is proudly presented by Fazenda Coffee Roasters. They're located in Dedham, folks, but you don't need to be living in Boston or the Boston area to enjoy Fazenda. Go to fazendacoffee.com. Specifically, you can go to fazendacoffee.com/morningbrew and check out the brew blend. Check out the Clean Canteen Travelers and check out the hats. The hats are there as well, as Fazenda Coffee is distributing the hats for us. Razor's wearing one today. I went with a vodka hat today just because I guess it feels that. But I've got the Fazenda in the mug. I'm enjoying that. Go check out fazendacoffee.com, whether you've got a wholesale retail operation or you just want to enjoy it at home. fazendacoffee.com. All right, Razor. 5-1. They've now lost the game 5-1 and 8-1 on this road trip. And I said it on the air last night on Nesson. Felt it was as close to a must-win game. If anything, just for team confidence, fan confidence. The term I use a lot is optics. And they had a good second period. We're going to go through the game. I'm not sure how many people who are joining us were able to stay up, wanted to stay up to watch the game. So we'll go through it like we like to do our recaps quickly on Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor. So it was a good second period, but it was not a good third period again. And as a bad dessert can do to a pretty good meal, it can ruin your impression. So I don't know, man. You're talking 13-2 been outscored in the last two games. It's kind of tough to think it's going to be okay right now. When I say that, I understand we still got a long way to go, but this ain't early now. We're talking mid-season, Razor, and now they're on the road facing some better teams, and some red flags seem to be popping up.
13-2 ain't good. The start's not good. Penalties at the start again of the game. The last two on the road in tough buildings, and you're taking 6 penalties in both first periods. It's hard. It's hard to win. The margin's so thin. They don't have many extra goals in their arsenal that are just kicking around. There's no one on such a heater that the puck's just hitting their stick and going in the net. And when you're taking those 6 penalty minutes in the first 13 minutes of both periods in the last two road games and ended up being down 2-0, it's just so hard to come back from. So yes, the finishes have been not so stellar, but more importantly, the starts have put them on the back foot. And we talked about it last night. The game is so much harder. This game of hockey is so much harder when you're chasing it, whether you're a forward trying to score 2 goals every shift to get back into the game, whether you're a defenseman trying to move the puck in situations or in places where probably a dump or probably off the boards is the right play. And then the goaltender who's under pressure from 3 minutes into the game, because if you end up giving up the third one, the game's over. So it's a hard way to play on the road, especially, and they have to clean up the start in order to have a successful road trip at this point, which is still possible. It is.
Okay, I get it. It looks more daunting, I guess. Looks, I don't want to say it can be deceiving. You know what I mean? You can't get. It's easy for fans and broadcasters, I guess, to look forward to too many games. And meanwhile, the players need to know they need to just look forward to one, which the next one is Saturday night in Vancouver. With that said, again, in theory, Seattle was supposed to be less of test is not the right. Yeah, I guess less of a test than Winnipeg. than probably, although Vancouver's okay at home, much better on the road. And then Calgary, who knows with them? They seem to be sliding, but Edmonton, the big name test, so to speak. But I guess we can't say that anymore about this Bruin team. It just seems like every game is a big test for them now. They're in that level, Razor, at least in my eyes, of everybody's looking at the Bruins right now and saying, we got to beat them because we should beat them. That's what they're seeing now. Like, and this is a new thing. We're not used to this. They're not used to this.
But just to confirm, then the 7-2 record against what supposedly were bad teams, that now counts because the Bruins aren't a good team, right? Like, just because I hear that narrative a lot, right? Like I heard that for the past 2 weeks. So
you have to win the game in front of you.
Yeah, you got to win the next game. That's all this league is. You got to win the next game. Every game is. We said it last night. Nashville beat Dallas. You can go through the schedule every night. A bad team that we think is bad wins against a great team that we think is great. So it's that's the league. It is the league, folks. It's the league, and you can't look ahead. And it's all about the next game. And right now, we're dissecting last night's game or the last two, and they've been outscored 13-2. It's bad. It's bad.
Yeah. So let me ask you this, because a major issue when Jim Montgomery was the head coach, partner, were these early penalties and penalties in the offensive zone.
Yeah.
And they got away from it for a bit, which says to me mentally they were focused and physically they were moving their feet more. They weren't reaching, they were skating. Instead of stick checking, hoping, closing with you use your stick to close gap, but your feet take you to the body type of thing, through the body. David, I understand Pastrnak last night. I didn't mean to high stick him, but he didn't stop. The first attempt to pick the stick of Alexiak, who's a much bigger man, didn't work. And then he tried to do it again. And it was, to me, it says, I'm not driving through. So you get behind a guy, you're taught not to reach too much, right? You're taught to, if you don't get it, then you either reload or you keep going after him, but with your stick on the ice. And again, he didn't mean to do it intentionally, but isn't that a careless play in your eyes too, where you're, especially the second one? Like, to me, the point of the diatribe here, are we seeing them go back to the mental state of, I'm just going to do this because I don't want to say it's easier, but that's where I'm at, instead of getting in, being more mentally focused? I mean, that penalty seconds into the game cannot happen. It can't happen for the team, for the individual, and especially the location on the ice.
Yeah, it just puts them so far behind the start. They have they want to get all four lines going. They want to get everyone into the game. They want to try and get opportunities first and take the crowd out of it, take the opposite team on home ice out of it, and all it does is fuel it the other way. I think David's in there. He sees Zach in front of him. He wants to pick Alexiak, at least get his stick. Zach chips it back to him behind the net. He goes in behind the net. He's trying to go the other way. He's thinking he can chip. He can get in behind the defense and get an opportunity closer to the net, rather than, to your point, just going through him along the boards and pushing the puck back up. He had different thoughts in his head, but early in the game and in the offensive zone and on the road and all these situations, it's situational. If you're down 2-0 late in the game, you take more of a risk there, and trying to get the puck and go back towards the net. But instead, early in the game, it's probably, again, and this is what happens when you press, right? This is what happens when you're trying to do too much and not just dumping the puck in and not just chipping it off the boards. And Charlie McAvoy on the second goal, he tries to make a play at the end of a penalty rather than
from deep in his zone,
rather than just icing it and getting it out. He thinks, okay, guys jumping out of the box. I can get this to Frederick. He can get it out of the zone, and maybe we go on offense from 200 feet away. Just kill it. Just get it out. Live to fight another day. And that's where they're at. It's those, and the same thing on Tyler Johnson's penalty, right? Like, he's trying to read. It's his first shift in 5 games. He's pressing.
In his home
He
state.
doesn't feel great about his game. He hasn't scored for this team yet. It's already 30 games in. He wants to make an extra play, and that's where the mental part of this comes in. And you're right. It's just a mentality in, excessiveness, and that's been that. It comes from a place of confidence at times, and unfortunately they don't have enough of it to to stick to their game plan. They don't have enough of it to stick to their defensive zone structure. They don't. That's where these little breakdowns are falling apart.
Yeah.
Sucks.
Let's go through it. Let's do our quick recap as we like to do, and understandably so, many of our listeners that are tuning in here probably didn't stay up as late as we did to watch the game, to talk the game, and so we will quickly go over it for a quick recap because that's what we do here. So the Bruins go in and they face off the puck. Razor, we talked about the penalty on David Pastrnak 16 seconds in to be exact. It happened below the offensive goal line, behind the net. Philip Grubauer, a bit of a surprise starter, by the way, for you and me. We thought that Joey Decord, the Boston kid, would get the start again, but he didn't. Grubauer gets in. Anyways, Alexiak, the big defenseman who played 1 year at Northeastern, gets his play. It was a good cut. It was a good cut. You know, mouth cuts always bleed more, right? I mean, they just do. I don't know if he was already missing that tooth or not, or if it was a fake one to begin with, but he's missing something. I mean, Pasta got his stick work on him, or worth on him. Alexiak takes it. You know what I really like too, and this is a little side thing here. Alexiak didn't throw the gloves off and didn't do. What did he do? What did the big guy do? He's just like, oh shit, you know. And he had blood coming down. It was nice. It was old school. It was good. Took it, but then right off the face-off, you said it, Rick said it, we all said it. Too easy of a goal that happens. It's Oliver Bjorkstrand who takes the heat in front of the net. Beniers is the one though who corrals the puck after Chandler Stevenson gets it to him off the face-off, and then Beniers on that left side moves around that circle area to the left, just outside the dot, brings it and takes a shot. That was a shot pass. It was an area type play, and Bjorkstrand redirects it past the goaltender Jonas Korpisalo starting in this game. Again, that's 24 seconds in on the power play. Way too easy, too simple, Razor. And besides losing the face-off, well, that's going to happen, 50-something% of the time when you're killing penalties. The Bruins didn't box out well. They didn't decipher well. That was, I thought, what was extremely obvious to me is deciphering well and taking away ice in that play.
Yeah, they weren't ready. They weren't ready to get to their spot and get to the Lindholm. The forwards were both going to the left side, to the middle. No one stayed on that right side. No one closed out. Off a face-off, you got to close out. Beniers had his back to the wall for a split second. If you're in right position, you close out and don't allow him to turn to the net. Once a good player like that turns to the net, once a couple guys are in front of the net with body possession, I mean, that's the game. I mean, they're going to make plays. So just too easy off a face-off. So many times you see the Bruins win the draw, but then they have no time and space, and that's what they allowed Seattle to have there. And just a terrible 24 seconds. Of hockey.
Which is concerning. That's concerning to me. Coming off of the last game, the previous game. All right, I'll get back to the rundown here, but I keep thinking to myself, this is the team that said that, they have to take care of things after Tuesday's game. They're going to get better. They're going to address things, and they didn't. And so to me, what that might be, you said it 5-10 minutes ago, that might be the most concerning thing is that the start. That's when, whether you're a kid at 8 years old or a pro at 28 years old, that has to fire you up. It has to. To be ready to go.
Well, on top of it, though, right? It was basically only like 3 guys that caused the entire team to have a bad start. Maybe only 2, maybe like just David and then whoever, those killers, those 3 or 4 killers, right? Like no one else even got a chance to say that they were ready to go or not. And
fair enough. Yeah.
But that's I'm not saying that's I'm not saying that's different from you. I'm just pointing out like it just affects everybody. It affects everybody based off the actions of 1 or 2 players. That's how quickly this goes when you're not feeling it on the road.
Yes, you're right.
I'm not disagreeing. I'm agreeing with you in just
a difference. With the penalty. It's what it does. It starts with the penalty because that puts everybody on the bench on their
heels. Right on their heels.
I'm up next. Yeah. Oh shit, I'm not. I'm on the bench now.
There's a great chance Marshy and Kastelik were ready to go, but now they're on their heels instantly. And that's the team game, and that's the identity, and that's why all of these things have to,
and that's
are
the
connected.
Feel. Yeah,
correct.
That's the feel. Yeah. All right, so then we go to the 5:14 mark, And then the puck comes into the corner, the left wing offensive corner, the blocker side of Jonas Korpisalo. And then Jaden Schwartz, who's had a very good career against the Boston Bruins, both as a Kraken, but probably more as his time with St. Louis, given that he's a veteran. This guy's he's got silky hands, man. He in general, he does. And for not a big kid, he plays a game that not even when he was with St. Louis, he would play interior. But he walks out of that corner, the left wing offensive corner for the Kraken, towards the net, and just comes, towards the goal line. Korpisalo goes down razor with his blocker with an attempt to nullify the pass, like through the top of the crease type of pass. Is that a partial RVH too? Help me out here, Mr. Goalie. I get confused. V8.
No,
by the way, I've never
RVH. Yeah.
Okay, it's an RVH. Excellent. All right. RVH. Like I can pretend like I know what I'm talking about there.
Yeah.
All I know is he reversed VH his shit there, and then the hands of Schwartz comes through, and he roofs a backhand over the right shoulder, over the shoulders of Korpisalo. You take the rest from there. That's at 5:14 to make it 2-0 Kraken.
Yeah, so Schwartz is a left-hander to the right of Korpisalo. So he has the puck, and it's below the goal line on his forehand. So no shot option there, no opportunity to shoot it. So Korpisalo puts a stick down on the ice, blocker down on the ice while he's down in his RVH on his post, expecting – basically, he only has a pass option at that point. So he's sealing the ice, sealing anything backdoor, anything in the middle of the ice to take that away. Schwartz, again, kind of similar to the first goal we talked about. You give a guy a foot and a half out there, then he can make a play, and he does that. He gets a little bit of room and recognizes he can take it to the net and get it above the goal line. When he does that, Korpisalo isn't quick enough to then get his shoulder and head up against the post. Doesn't get blocker on. You go from blocker on ice to blocker on pad in that situation because now it's a shot option. And when you're lower, obviously that little area around your head opens up when you're 6'3". When you're 6'3", you can go blocker on pad and the whole post gets sealed. So he doesn't do that. Schwartz recognizes it, beats him to it. And it's a nice goal. It's a great goal, but it's a goal that as a goalie, you're like, I made a bad decision. You're going to watch the video today and you're going to see, I didn't really need to be that aggressive on the pass. I should have just taken the shot away, taken the play away and lived to fight another day. So just a little aggressive from Korpisalo on taking pass away that wasn't necessary and didn't recognize Schwartz had as much room as he had.
Right. And it's interesting being a righty coming from that side. I'm going to guess as a goaltender, you're thinking, okay, he might try.
Now he's shot. Now he wouldn't have worried about the pass. He would have just covered short side the whole time. Exactly.
Which is interesting because I'm a righty, Schwartz lefty, and I'm thinking it's probably an easier pass for a righty to make. And not probably, I know it is. You're coming up that side. However, the mind, I would imagine, tells you as a goalie, it's an easier way to shoot as well. But because you're coming from that offside, but you're open, whereas Schwartz comes in, and this is why these guys are so freaking good, is that they have the ability, goal scorers, to do stuff like that. That's one of the big things I take out of it as well.
Yeah, they recognize time and space. He recognized he could pull a backhand and get to the front. Because the other thing too, right, is the right-handed guy has the puck in the middle, so the defense is closer to disrupting that pass as well.
That's why I'm thinking pass though, because if a guy's going to close on me a half a second earlier, as soon as he turns, I'm moving the puck on my stick. All right, so it's 2-0 at the end of one. The Boston Bruins do get 14 shots, just 7 for the Seattle Kraken. They had some good chances. They did. Grubauer made some good saves. That's no silver lining or anything. It's just saying they had some chances in that period. And Grubauer's kind of an adventure in that, at least in my eyes at times, but damn if he wasn't effective. I mean, that's just the truth. We go to the second period. Bruins again come out. They're playing well, folks. If you didn't see it, they are continuing to do some good things with it. We can go through a litany of chances. I'm not going to do it here. We're running through this show. Finally, halfway through, there is a good play by Brazeau, takes it kind of through the middle of the ice. Then he goes wide on the right side, uses the long reach in the offensive zone, tries to funnel it to the net. Karam's off a leg or two. I think it might have been the Seattle defender. Marchand is driving to the net. Puck gets behind a sprawled out Grubauer, and the puck does not cross the goal line fully. They did go to review. However, good call by the official as they announced they're going to review. Montour had dove into the crease to try and nullify the puck from going across, and in doing so, covered it with his hand. Once they determined that there was no clear view that the puck had fully crossed the line, and there wasn't, I thought they got it right in my eyes, they awarded a penalty shot. The referee had said, if this doesn't happen, this is what's going to happen. Player on the ice has to take it per rules. Brad Marchand notified right away by Joe Sacco, if this happens, you're going to take it. Razor, he doesn't go young blood. He doesn't go big loop, and he doesn't show off the locks of hair. What he does is he just goes in there, speed demon through the middle, up down the center ice, and then a beautiful play, faking the shot, going to the backhand, 5-hole on the goaltender Grubauer to make it a 2-1 game. From a goalie's perspective, tell us what Marchand does so well there.
Well, it's a speed, number one, and it freezes on the shot a little bit easier. That shot fake that Brad did when he rolled his hands, that freezes you a little bit more as a goaltender when there's speed, because it's just harder to make a play at that speed. So you have to take shot away. Brad does a great job. That's his move. He fakes for, unless he has the shot, low blocker. He fakes there and then goes backhand. This time he goes back against the grain a little bit to go 5-hole. Grubauer, I'm sure, watched tape and knew he knows the shootout moves of guys. He knows Brad likes going to his backhand. So when he fakes the shot, he gets a little behind, but he tries to overcompensate. Grubauer does. He goes too far to his left, tries to beat Brad to the post, which Brad sets up and waits for, and then puts it back between his wickets. So Brad has 3 options off of that. He has the low blocker shot, he has the far backhand high glove, or he has back between the legs, and he has a feel for that. Obviously 7 penalty shots. Every time I watch that, I always wish that he knew he had another 2.5 seconds in Game 5 against the Florida Panthers to not shoot low blocker, and he had Bob if he goes to his backhand like he always does. But he rushed it because he didn't think he had enough time. Anyways, I think of that every time.
Let me ask you this from a goalie perspective. Yeah. Boy, I feel even worse now. Thanks for reminding me. Good stuff. Good stuff. Let me ask you this, goalie perspective. Brad's hands, like these guys, they're out beautifully, right? Presenting. Are you only, from a goalie perspective at the NHL level, are you only watching puck, or are you also watching hands, wrist movement? What are you watching at that time?
No, you have a pretty you're I don't think you're not dialed into any of it. You're taking all of it in. Probably less the puck at that point. You're like, I'm taking in, okay, where is he coming from? What's his route? What's his, because again, your route dictates certain options. Like the way he came in, it's really hard at that pace. Well, almost impossible at that pace to take that route and then go to my right as a goaltender. You can't swerve back without stopping or slowing up or something.
Can't drift now. You got to move. Like
correct.
Drift don't work. You got to freaking move.
So you're taking that in, and then you start taking the hand. Yeah. So to answer the question, I think the puck's the least thing you're looking at that. By the time he gets to that point, you're recognizing where the puck is. It's in front of him. It's behind him. It's beside him. But really, you're taking in his hands, his feet. Toes up ice, toes sideways. It just kind of all blends in together by the time he gets to the hash marks.
Interesting. He also wears such short gloves. The cuffs are fully exposed, right? It's something he loves. It's what he does. And we're seeing more and more. Well, it is changed. Gloves used to go almost all the way up to your elbow pads. It's changed now, et cetera, and everything. But I almost wonder, I don't know. Every time I watch him, when he moves the wrists like that, it's so noticeable given how much room between cuff and elbow that he has. I don't think it's a distraction for goaltenders. Just curious. I just see that room. I notice it so much with him. Little things like that we watch and we look at. All right, so it's 2-1 at that time. Bruins can't tie the game up in the second period. And then welcome to the third period woes continue on this trip. Kraken are going to score 3 goals. The first one at 3:07, Vince Dunn. bats it out of midair after a sustained offensive zone, and they move around. It's not positionless hockey, but it's movement hockey. And this is the new age. Everybody I know that's listening, tuning in, understands that, or watching us here. Dunn is going to get it up the carom. Was it McCann, I believe, and follows in from that left point, coming swooping down. Razor. I thought it was the right call. You couldn't prove that it was above the crossbar. And it's not that the stick was above the crossbar. It's where the point of contact on the stick, the puck is. So, folks, and I'm sure 99% of you know this, but if there's 1% that doesn't, if the puck comes to you and if you're a player and you swat it down, remember, it's not stick over the shoulder. It's stick at it's puck level at the crossbar. But your stick can be above the crossbar. But if it hits your shaft below the blade, and that's considered below or at or below crossbar, it's considered a good goal. And that's what the referee and the situation room delivered.
No, exactly. It's and those are so hard to, if it's called a goal on the ice, that one more than almost any is so hard to go against because it's 10 feet away from it. It's not like it's right beside the goal.
There's no good camera angle.
There's never a good angle. And when it's within inches like that, it's hard to go against. But you're right. It's all about where the puck hit. It doesn't matter where you start or where the stick starts. And that's, again, if it was called right, I thought it was perfectly called. I'm glad they called it a good goal on the ice as well. It's a good job by the refs. It's a goal. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. You hope, as a goaltender, you hope he hit it a little early.
Right.
But not in this case.
He timed it perfectly. Lucky or good. It's better to be lucky than good. But you know what? He's playing well for them. He's been injured. He's back. He's an important piece for them. We didn't see him when they played the Bruins in Boston. He was out, and he played, and he's been playing well, putting up points. Dunn gets his fourth of the season. It's now 3-1, and that kind of had the feeling, just like the fourth goal in Winnipeg the other night. You're like, oh, shit.
Yeah.
Like, come on. But the Bruins didn't earn it, didn't get the puck up. Bjorkstrand scores his second goal of the game at the 9:16 mark. Shane Wright with an assist on that one. The youngster playing better for them, his second assist of the game. Tolvanen as well. And that was an even strength goal. And then there's an empty net goal by McCann and Tanev working in. We don't need to go through those goals there. Let's quickly do our sponsors. And then I've got a couple of questions for you. And as we wrap up this live morning brew with Jaffe and Razor, as always, Graciano Construction is the place to refresh and revitalize your space. Just get a quote or a discussion with them. Let them know what you're looking for. Serving Boston, Metro West, and even further. Hey, listen, if you're watching or listening to us outside the Boston area, but you know somebody that lives in this area, and you say, hey, I hear you're doing something in your house, or you want to, call up Graciano Construction. Doug Graciano and his crew are fantastic. GracianoConstruction.com. They'll do anything. No job too big, too small. They are just fantastic people to work with, and they make doing home remodeling. And by the way, if you want to redo your entire place, I've seen some of the projects that they've done too, Razor. It's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Go check out GracianoConstruction.com. They'll do it all. We're starting to work on another home project here. If you need your skate sharpened, right? There's no better place to go than Sparks. Why don't you tell us about it?
SparksHockey.com. Use the code BREW50 to get $50 off for the best machine, the best money that I have spent in my hockey career doing hockey equipment. It saved me so much time, so much money. A day like today where I don't sleep all night. The kids have games all weekend. Kids have games tonight. I don't have to worry about skate sharpening. I know they did it themselves last night while I was in the studio. They're ready to go this weekend. I don't have to find the rink or the store to go and drive around and take another hour out of my day. And it saves a ton of money. So 'tis the season, the holiday season. No better gift for a hockey family, a hockey kiddo than SparksHockey.com. Brew50 for $50 off. They have other deals going. It's the best machine going.
Can't say it any better than that. Check out SparksHockey.com. And lastly, check out Baydog, Baydog.com. Baydog K9 Adventure Gear. If you use the code MBRU, it gets you 15% off your entire order. Best dog life jackets on planet Earth. So if you're looking for somebody, a gift for the holiday season, who's got a dog that loves to swim, be on boats, etc., go check out their life jackets. but also just check out all their other stuff. They've got the collars, they've got the college stuff, they've got everything. They are 100% veteran owned. Everything is high quality, smart design, but always very reasonably priced. Just check out West Lebanon Feed and Supply in West Lebanon, New Hampshire. Geraldine up there, huge Bruins fan, listens to Morning Brew as well. And there's so many other places like Wag Nation in Newport, Pet World in Natick. These places all support Baydog. We support Baydog. We can't thank them enough. Check out baydog.com. My buddy Bart has built a very nice company there and doing a wonderful job and really good. And by the way, speaking of great dogs, I've got Super Cooper sitting over here, snoozing over to the left. If only I didn't have so much crap on my desk. Cooper gets himself into the chair, and he is absolutely bathing in the sunlight coming in. All right, listen. It looks like Elias Lindholm injured in the game. Now, it looks like we know he got injured in the game, and he's a center. It doesn't mean you have to call it the center. You already had Mark McLaughlin on the trip. Just, prognosticating here, though. I know it's been well documented in the last 2 days, social media, and how well Matt Poitras has been playing. Overall, it took him a couple games to get going down there. There's an adjustment going from the NHL to the American League, a big adjustment, right?
Mhm.
Positionally sound, where a guy's going to be, where you get passes, etc. We don't know anything just yet at all, but if they need to call somebody up, it is a freaking hard trip. You and I were playing travel agent trying to get somebody, from Providence or Boston to Vancouver. Almost impossible to do early. If he's flying commercial, it would have to be late. And again, we're just saying if, hypothetically speaking, they call somebody up as we sit and do this live stream and record episode. It's 9:30 in the morning Eastern time. You would assume, Razor, Matt Poitras would get the call back. We saw Lindholm take his shift, and he seemed to be very engaged. Now, did he get hit sometime on that shift where when he comes off the ice, he had 2 or 3 hits on that shift that he tried to initiate? Did something happen? Is this something that was lingering? Who knows? They called it upper body. He was out, did not play the second half of the game, was credited with 6 hits. He played a total of just 7 minutes or just under. This has been a tough start, and I think this is the understatement of this show. Tough start to the season for Elias Lindholm.
Certainly. He's felt a lot of pressure, and the one goal he scored after the first couple, the relief, and the next one will be a lot of relief too, because it's been a while again. It'll be interesting. Again, you never know with these injuries. Again, I thought Hampus Lindholm was going to be back in the second period. We talked about it last night.
Right.
He hasn't played for 3 months, so I'm not going to try and predict what's going on or what happened. My question, or I'm curious to see if they had a plan with Poitras. Because sometimes what happens too, right, where the kid's cooking down there, and you don't want to take him out of that.
Exactly.
You don't want to put him on a plane across the country and let him really marinate.
I was going to ask you about that. Yeah.
And get to the new year. Okay, our plan was you're going to go down there for 7 weeks, 8 weeks, and you're going to. That's it. No matter what.
You're going to play 18 minutes or whatever.
Correct.
You're going to do every situation.
Correct.
You're getting your confidence back. You're getting your strength back. You're doing everything. This is part of the process. So I was going to say, if that's the case, don't be surprised if they don't send him. Now, let's see how the rest of the team is too. I mean, you have one extra player offensively up there. You have an extra defenseman right now. That's a whole nother thing.
The other thing too, right, with the salary cap and everything else, if Lindholm's only going to miss, if it's a 5-day little, something happened, wrist got tweaked. I don't know. Wrist got tweaked. It's only 5 days. He can play in Edmonton or Calgary. They're probably not going to bring somebody else.
Exactly.
They're going to use Mark McLaughlin for 2 games and just hold off. So,
and you have other guys that can slide to center.
That's all they have. Tons of. That's what that's what they've banked their forward on, having flexibility and guys moving to the middle. So again, I think I wouldn't. I know there's a lot of groundswell to get young guys in as soon as possible. Just don't panic, folks. If that's not what happens today or tomorrow, that these guys don't get called across the country, because there's either a plan in place or they don't need to bring somebody out because they have a guy there already for 3 days.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see that.
It's a story.
So I want to get your quick thoughts on. All right, no practice today for the Bruins in Van. Get the day off. They've already, they practice in Seattle. Very short flight. I don't think they bust. I can't imagine they did. I'm sure they took the plane with them and they got down there. Day off, and then they have to get back at it. You would assume I'm gonna make the statement Jeremy Swayman will be back in net, all things being equal. Give me a quick look at his game from your eyes. I mean, is this, he talked about post game late night the other night about not being happy with his game, should have made some more saves and everything. Let's just say, you're talking with him as you've done in the past. You're a vet, you've been there, done that. What are you saying to Jeremy Swayman to reset him?
Well, you're saying you got, again, you got to keep working. That's all this is. That's what this game is. That's what this position is. You have to, you're a product of circumstance at certain times, and you have to keep your head down. You have to get work done. You have to stay confident somehow. The best goalies stay confident when they give up a bunch of goals. They find a way to do that internally. Jeremy has to do that as the starter, and I've talked about it all year. It's different. It's different when you have this, and Linus Ullmark doesn't come back and give you a 1-0 win on the road, and everyone there's different circumstance here, and he's got to find his way through it. He's on the road. He's in the hotel. There's not a lot of distraction. You're only thinking about the fact he gave up 5 goals in the last period you played. So it's a mental, aerobic exercise for him the next few days to loosen up, have a meal, hang out with the guys, get to work in the morning and find your game. Technically, there's not a lot there that I see that's wrong. Or it's not like he lost his game from a physical perspective. A couple things, and stats wise, he's gotten 3 smoked games where he's taken it on the chin for 7, for 8. I took it on the chin for 5 and 6 in Carolina. So, beyond those games, this team has been bad in third periods and kind of not given up, but allowed extra, where that doesn't happen when you win Jennings. Like, you lose games 2-1 rather than 6-1. You just kind of hang around and so his numbers look like that from some of the chunk plays. There's still some good stuff in his game, and he's had some good games, but he's got to find a way to make that one extra save that he's done his entire career, and he hasn't done this season, I would say. Whether it's the second goal in Winnipeg the other night at the end of the first, like, he comes across and that hits him. That hit him the entire season last year. That hit him in the playoffs against Florida and Toronto, and that changes the game, the tenor of the game, and keeps you tighter. And obviously, the ones from behind the goal line are an easy one to talk about, but it's the wrister at 4-1 that he doesn't make a save on at the end of Winnipeg that turns into 8. Goes from 4 to 8 real quickly in this league.
With that said, number 73 and number 88, in my eyes, have to make that another play. Just the same way you just said about Swayman.
Everyone's with the exception, I would say, of 63 and 47 now.
That's what I was going to go to. Marchand, the points are great, but it's also been the eye test since the coaching change. He has brought it, man. He's busted his ass. He's trying to
bring everybody into this fight.
He's doing everything he can, and I just don't know if – I'm not saying people don't appreciate it enough because of the results at times, but he's working – he's doing like 3 jobs now out there as, captain and leader and player and I mean, scorer or point producer. Probably team psychiatrist.
He's worried about everybody. Like,
everybody.
He's worried about everybody. He knows all the guys that haven't scored in 7 games, and he's trying to get them to go out to
I'm looking at those two. Razor, I'm looking at those two. 73 and 88 have got to be better.
Can I add 2 numbers?
Yeah, of course.
13 and 11. 13 and 11.
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
13 especially. Like, he didn't take faceoffs. He's dealing, but it's just he's too important. Just too important. To not be in the group with those guys.
I agree. And 11 looks like a different player from last year.
Yeah.
We had him on in a season preview type of interview. Player interview is fantastic. I don't know. I wonder if the, contract situation, meaning a UFA to B, is playing too much into his head. I'm not sure, but it's different. Lastly, all right, let's wrap this one up. It's been fun. Folks, we really appreciate you joining us. It's been some great posts and talk conversation. A lot of people joining us here. The Bruins are, I hate to end a show on a bad note, but number one in too many categories that aren't great. Number one in time on ice, shorthanded. Number one in PK opportunities. These two bother me, though. Ready for this? I had my buddy from NHL Network.
You got it.
Bruins are number one in the NHL in offensive zone penalties.
Yeah.
With 38.
Brad.
Nashville is second with 36. That's a mindset thing. Okay. To me, that's all that is. Good teams don't take offensive zone penalties. They need to get that straightened out immediately. They need to move their feet more. If they're not going to be a team that is going to razzle dazzle you meat and potato it, all the cliche and everything, you got to get your butt going and you got to keep your feet moving and not reach. They got to stop doing that. They're also number one in the NHL in giveaways, Razor. Now, giveaways can be subjective, rink to rink. I get it. I do. But, the totality of it, it says a lot to me there. They've got to be better in that regard. Brick talks about it. I always love the comment. He said, value the puck more. They have to. I guess the question is going to be, I'm not going to ask you, I'm rhetorically throwing it out there. Are they able to? And maybe that's the question in a couple of weeks we're going to have a better answer to. We felt they were when they went 7-2 under in the first night under Joe Sacco. Now the last two we got to see. All right, again, I hate to wrap it up on a bad note. So, Razor, I'm going to say this on a good note. Phenomenal to see you. The brew hat looks fantastic on you. Again, I went with a vodka hat this morning, if only because it was right here. The coffee tasted great. And, it's fun. Folks, we appreciate you joining us. It's great. Next game is Saturday night against Vancouver. We will not be doing a post-game morning brew with Jaffe and Razor after that game. We will be back with the next new brew on Tuesday night after the Calgary game. All right. You want to go anywhere, Razor, to wrap it up? Or are you all good? You ready to go on your day?
No, let's get the day cooking here.
All right. RC, thanks for everything, buddy.
Yeah, thanks.
All right. RC behind the screen. We're going to get you on screen soon, RC. Folks, thanks for tuning in if you joined us live stream. And as always, thank you for listening and supporting Morning Brew with Jaffe and Razor. Bruins lose to the Seattle Kraken 5-1. They're on to Vancouver. They'll have a day off Friday. They'll get back on the ice Saturday. Everybody try and enjoy your day. Maybe try and forget about the game. Sometimes that's just the best thing to do. Yep. Get rid of it. Go have yourself another cup of coffee this morning. Enjoy it, and then go find yourself something a little stronger later in the day.